All right, get ready for a trip to Edinburgh through the magic of movies. You've got an awesome trip planned, and you gave us a bunch of films set in this incredible city. We're going to take a deep dive into them to help you choose the perfect in-flight movie for your trip.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about pretty scenery. We're going to explore how these films really capture the essence of Edinburgh. Sometimes, even when they're not actually filmed there, a little bit of movie magic.
Exactly. Let's start with Trainspotting. That opening scene, Ewan McGregor running down Prince's Street. So iconic, right? It just screams, Edinburgh!
It really does.
But here's the thing. Most of the movie was actually filmed in Glasgow.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think the filmmakers were going for this raw energy.
A certain grittiness.
Yeah, and they felt like they could find that more easily in Glasgow streets. It really makes you think about how the locations that directors pick, even when they're faking it, can really shape the story.
So even if it's kind of an illusion, it still captures a certain feeling of Edinburgh, at least for some people.
Yeah, I think so. And for you, thinking about your trip, it might make you wonder, does the real Edinburgh have that same energy? What will you find when you actually get there?
Now, T2, the sequel, actually embraces Edinburgh fully.
Oh, yeah.
It's got scenes at Arthur's Seat, the Scottish Parliament building, all places you might actually go see.
That's cool.
That's like a cinematic scavenger hunt.
I love that. Can you imagine watching those scenes on the plane and then actually being in those spots when you arrive?
Yeah.
It adds a whole other layer to traveling.
Okay, let's talk The Illusionist. This animated film has this kind of magical quality that I associate with Edinburgh.
Right.
And here's a fun fact. The director, Sylvain Chomet, totally fell in love with Edinburgh at the film festival and actually moved there.
Wow.
The story was originally set in Prague, but he reimagined it for Edinburgh.
Interesting.
So, as you're flying high above the clouds, watching this visually stunning film,
Yeah.
headed to the city that inspired it.
It sets the mood for sure.
It does.
Makes you wonder, will you see those same magical kind of melancholy elements when you're actually exploring Edinburgh?
Okay, now back to Danny Boyle, the director of Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Before Trainspotting, he made Shallow Grave, also set in Edinburgh,
Yeah.
also starring a young Ewan McGregor.
And it's got that amazing opening sequence, that crazy fast car ride through Edinburgh's new town. The grand crescents, the elegant architecture. It's a visual feast.
But here's the twist. Shallow Grave, like Trainspotting, was mostly filmed in Glasgow.
It's like these two cities are trading places on film.
Yeah.
And it really highlights this interesting thing about filmmaking. Sometimes it's not really about being geographically accurate, but capturing a certain essence, a certain feeling.
Right.
Both Glasgow and Edinburgh have that, that grand historical architecture. But Glasgow maybe offered some advantages for filmmaking, like budget, logistics.
So it's that illusion again, right?
Yeah.
And for you as a viewer, it might make you even more curious to see how those two cities are similar and different in real life.
Yeah, almost like a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Can you spot the similarities and the differences? Can you tell what's real and what's just movie magic? It makes you wonder, seeing Shallow Grave and Trainspotting back-to-back on your flight, would it kind of heighten that visual detective work, once you're in Edinburgh?
Totally. But, those two films aren't exactly light entertainment for a plane ride.
True. Trainspotting can get pretty heavy. Maybe save that one for after the trip when you've had time to process all the layers of Edinburgh.
Good call. Okay, if you want a film that really celebrates Edinburgh's beauty and maybe even makes you want to explore some of its hidden corners, you have to check out Hallam Foe.
Hallam Foe. This film takes you all over the city, but from this really unique perspective. Hallam's a young guy who loves climbing on rooftops, and, he's a bit of a voyeur.
Exactly. So you get these amazing views of places like Waverley Station and Prince's Street Gardens, but you're seeing them through Hallam's eyes. It's almost like the city itself becomes another character in the story.
It might even inspire you to seek out those same spots.
Yeah.
Will you try to see Edinburgh through Hallam's eyes?
Now, for something completely different, there's Sunshine on Leith.
Oh, yeah.
This musical, set to the songs of the Proclaimers,
Yeah.
is just pure joy and energy.
It really shows a different side of Edinburgh, the vibrancy, the party atmosphere.
That festival energy.
Exactly. Imagine you're watching that final scene on the Mound with 500 people dancing their hearts out, and then you land in Edinburgh ready to soak it all up.
You'd arrive with a spring in your step. It's like the film is giving you permission to embrace the city's fun side.
Right. Edinburgh's full of contrasts. It can be gritty and introspective, but also joyful and full of life. And that's what makes it so special, that variety, you know? You can
Yeah.
really experience that firsthand.
Okay, I have to confess, before we started working on this deep dive, I hadn't seen the Bill Douglas trilogy,
Yeah.
but wow, what a powerful and moving experience.
Yeah.
These films show a side of Scotland that's not often seen, the working class experience in a mining village close to Edinburgh.
My childhood, my Ain folk, and my way home. Each one just brilliant filmmaking, social realism at its best. It reminds us that every city, every place has these multiple stories to tell.
Right. It's a reminder that traveling isn't just about seeing the sights, but about understanding the people, the history. And sometimes those stories are best told through film.
Absolutely. The Bill Douglas trilogy might not be the most cheerful choice for a plane ride, but it will definitely give you a new appreciation for the complexities of Scotland, you know, the resilience of its people.
Okay, let's get back to films that were actually shot in Edinburgh, really capturing that authentic charm. We have to talk about The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie,
Yeah.
based on a novel by Muriel Spark, a true Edinburgh native.
This film is amazing. It captures Edinburgh in the 1930s with such attention to detail. You know, they even went to the trouble of removing TV aerials so everything would be accurate.
Talk about dedication.
Yeah,
It's like stepping back in time.
it really is.
And for you, it could be a cool way to see how the city has changed while still keeping that unique character.
Right. It makes you wonder, as you're walking those streets, which parts have stayed the same and which parts have been transformed.
Yeah, it's like having a conversation with the past and present. So we've gone from gritty realism to whimsical animation to historical dramas to musicals. It's amazing how one city can be shown in so many different ways in film.
Yeah, it shows just how multi-layered Edinburgh is. You know, there's so much history embedded in those streets. There's a certain energy that you can feel and a beauty that can be both grand and intimate.
And for you, getting ready for your trip, this deep dive has hopefully given you more than just movies to watch on the plane. It's about getting your senses ready for what's waiting for you in Edinburgh.
Think of it this way. Each film is like a different lens for looking at the city. Some focus on the grandeur, some on the grit, some on the heart, the humor. What kind of Edinburgh story are you most drawn to?
Maybe you'll be inspired to do that Trainspotting run down Princess Street,
Right.
at your own pace. And
Yeah.
maybe without the shoplifting.
Right.
Or perhaps you'll find yourself seeking out those quiet spots, those hidden alleys that Hallam Foe explores in his rooftop adventures.
You might even find yourself humming a Proclaimers tune while you're wandering those streets, you know, feeling that joy from Sunshine on Leith.
It's exciting, right?
It is.
The connection between film and travel. The movies can spark your curiosity, give you a feel for a place, even help you plan your trip.
And they can challenge your perceptions too. You know, maybe after watching Trainspotting, you'll see more than just the picture-perfect side of Edinburgh and start to notice the social dynamics, the stories that aren't in the guidebooks.
Yeah.
Or maybe The Illusionist will inspire you to look for those magical moments that exist even in the busy parts of the city.
And don't forget about films like the Bill Douglas trilogy that can really give you a deeper understanding of the history and the lives of the people of Scotland. They offer a window into a world that's often overlooked, but is crucial to truly grasping the city's character.
Definitely.
So, as you pack your bags and get ready for your adventure, remember, you're not just going to Edinburgh, you're entering a world that has been imagined and reimagined on screen countless times.
And those cinematic experiences can make your real-life journey richer in ways you might not expect. They can make you more observant, more curious, more open to the unexpected.
So embrace the adventure. Explore Edinburgh with open eyes and an open mind. And let the stories you've experienced through these films guide you.
Who knows, you might even find your own Edinburgh story, one that's uniquely yours.
And that concludes our deep dive into Edinburgh on film. We hope you've enjoyed exploring with us. Remember, there's always more to explore, more to discover, more to learn. Keep watching, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the worlds that fascinate you. We'll see you next time.